Lagos shimmered under the afternoon sun, a city of relentless energy and boundless ambition. At its heart, nestled in the exclusive Ikoyi district, lived Amara and David, the city's golden couple. Their love story was the stuff of tabloids and society whispers. A whirlwind romance between Amara, a brilliant architect with a sharp mind and an even sharper sense of style, and David, a charismatic tech mogul whose ventures seemed to turn everything he touched into gold. They were beautiful, successful, and madly in love, or so it seemed. Their upcoming wedding, set to be the social event of the year, was meticulously planned, down to the last crystal on Amara's bespoke gown. Every detail screamed opulence and unwavering devotion. They hosted lavish parties in their sprawling penthouse, their laughter echoing against the panoramic views of the Lagos Lagoon. Friends envied their bond, families celebrated their union, and the city watched, captivated by their seemingly perfect fairy tale. Amara often found herself gazing at David, a warmth spreading through her chest, convinced she had found her soulmate, her forever. Yet beneath the polished surface of their idyllic life, a tiny, almost imperceptible crack was forming, a discordant note in their harmonious symphony. The first tremor of doubt struck Amara on a Tuesday morning, a day that began like any other. David had left for a supposed early meeting, but a lingering scent, unfamiliar and subtly floral, clung to his side of the bed. Amara dismissed it as a new cologne, perhaps a gift from a business associate. Later, while tidying his study, her hand brushed against a loose floorboard beneath his antique desk. Curiosity piqued, she lifted it, revealing a small velvet-covered box. Inside, nestled on a bed of silk, was a delicate silver locket, engraved with the initials NO and a date that was not their anniversary, nor David's birthday, nor any date significant to their relationship. Her heart gave an uncomfortable lurch. David rarely wore jewelry, and this locket was distinctly feminine. A cold knot began to form in her stomach. She closed the box, replacing the floorboard, her mind racing. The scent, the locket, the subtle evasiveness in his eyes lately. Were these just figments of her imagination, fueled by pre-wedding jitters, or was something far more sinister unfolding beneath their gilded life? The perfection she had so cherished now felt fragile, teetering on the edge of an unknown precipice. The locket became a silent tormentor, its presence a constant hum of suspicion in Amara's mind. She tried to confide in her best friend, Chika, over brunch at a chic cafe in Victoria Island. "He's been acting strange, Chika," Amara whispered, stirring her hibiscus tea. "And I found this locket with different initials." Chika, ever the pragmatist, waved a dismissive hand. "Amara, it's probably a gift for his mother or a client. You're just stressed with the wedding. David adores you." Her words, meant to soothe, only deepened Amara's unease. Chika's nonchalance felt almost too rehearsed. Despite Chika's reassurances, Amara's gut screamed otherwise. She couldn't shake the feeling that David was keeping something from her. Something significant. Unable to shake the feeling, Amara decided to take matters into her own hands. She discreetly hired a private investigator, a retired police officer known only as Baba Segan, whose reputation for discretion was legendary in Lagos. She gave him the locket's details and David's recent movements, a knot of dread tightening in her stomach with every word. The first report from Baba Segan was innocuous enough, confirming David's business meetings, but it also highlighted an unusual pattern: frequent, unscheduled detours to a specific, unassuming neighborhood in Surulere, a place far removed from his usual haunts. Baba Segan's reports grew more unsettling with each passing day. The unscheduled detours to Surulere became a regular occurrence, always around the same time, always lasting for a few hours. Amara, consumed by a gnawing anxiety, decided to see for herself. One humid afternoon, she drove her sleek SUV through the bustling, chaotic streets of Surulere, a stark contrast to the manicured lawns of Ikoyi. Following Baba Segan's precise directions, she found herself on a quiet, tree-lined street, pulling up discreetly a few blocks from the address. The building was an older, unassuming block of flats, far from the modern luxury David was accustomed to. She waited, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. After what felt like an eternity, David's familiar black Mercedes pulled up, and he emerged, looking surprisingly casual in a t-shirt and jeans, a stark departure from his usual sharp suits. He glanced around almost nervously, before slipping into the building. Amara watched, a cold dread seeping into her bones. The image of him, so ordinary, so out of place, confirmed her worst fears. He wasn't there for business. He was there for something or someone he was desperately trying to hide. The betrayal, though unseen, was already a palpable weight in the air. The confrontation was inevitable, explosive. Amara waited until David returned home that evening, his usual cheerful demeanor masking a subtle tension she now recognized. "Where were you this afternoon, David?" she asked, her voice dangerously calm, the locket clutched in her hand. He stammered, offering a vague explanation about a last-minute meeting with a difficult client. Amara's eyes narrowed. "And the locket, David? Who is Eno?" His face paled. He launched into a flurry of denials, accusing her of being paranoid, of not trusting him. "Amara, you're imagining things. It's nothing." His gaslighting only fueled her resolve. The next day, armed with a renewed sense of purpose, Amara followed him. She watched from a distance as he entered the Surelier apartment building. Minutes later, the curtains of a second-floor window parted, and she saw them. David, his arm around a woman, a strikingly beautiful, much younger lady with long braided hair and a radiant smile. Catchy. They were laughing. A picture of domestic intimacy that shattered Amara's world into a million pieces. The raw, searing pain of betrayal consumed her, eclipsing everything else. Her perfect life, her perfect love, was nothing but a cruel, elaborate lie. The initial shock gave way to a cold, calculated fury. Amara returned to her penthouse, the image of David and Nkechi seared into her mind. The tears came later, but first, there was the burning desire for retribution. She was heartbroken, yes, but more than that, she felt humiliated. A fool in her own fairy tale. She began to delve deeper into Nkechi's life, pulling strings, leveraging her network. What she uncovered only intensified her resolve. Nkechi wasn't just a casual fling. David had been secretly funding her education, her modest apartment, even a small boutique business she was trying to start. It wasn't just an affair. It was a sustained, clandestine financial commitment, a second life David had meticulously built behind Amara's back. This wasn't just about a broken heart. It was about a profound breach of trust, a calculated deception that had undermined their entire relationship. Amara's revenge would be precise, devastating, and aimed directly at David's most vulnerable points. His impeccable reputation, his carefully constructed public image, and most importantly, his vast wealth. She would dismantle his empire, piece by agonizing piece, just as he had dismantled her dreams. Amara's mind, once consumed by love, now meticulously crafted David's downfall. She began with subtle, almost imperceptible maneuvers. At a high-profile charity gala, she accidentally let slip to a prominent investor that David was facing unforeseen personal complications that might affect his focus. The seed of doubt was planted. She then used her connections in the architectural world to subtly divert lucrative land deals away from David's development company, citing vague ethical concerns that were just enough to raise eyebrows without being provable. Anonymous emails containing carefully curated snippets of information about David's secret expenditures, which were, in fact, the funds he was sending to Nkechi, began circulating among his business partners, always attributed to a concerned insider. David's usually flawless public relations team found themselves constantly battling whispers and innuendos. His once unblemished reputation began to fray, his business deals faltered, and invitations to exclusive social events dwindled. He was losing clients, losing face, and losing money, all while remaining utterly oblivious to the architect of his ruin, the woman who still shared his bed. David's world began to crumble. His once thriving tech empire was hemorrhaging funds, investors were pulling out, and the social elite who once courted him now offered cold shoulders. Cornered and desperate, he confronted Amara, his face etched with confusion and anger. "What have you done, Amara? Why are you destroying me?" he demanded, his voice raw. Amara met his gaze, her eyes cold and hard. "You want to know what I've done, David? I've merely shown the world the man you truly are. The man who built a life with me while secretly funding another woman, Nkechi. The man who lied, cheated, and betrayed my trust." She laid out her evidence. The locket, the Surelier apartment, the financial transfers. David listened, his face a mask of shock, then disbelief, then a profound sadness. "Nkechi, you think she's my mistress?" he whispered, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. "Amara, Nkechi isn't my mistress. She's my younger sister. Our parents died tragically 5 years ago, and I've been secretly supporting her, putting her through university, helping her start her business. I kept it from you because you cut ties with my family after that argument about the inheritance. I knew you'd never approve. Amara felt a sickening lurch in her stomach. Nkechi, his sister? The truth hit her like a physical blow. A wave of nausea washing over her as the pieces of David's explanation clicked into place. The locket with Ino? Nkechi Okoro. The financial support, a brother's duty. The secretiveness, a desperate attempt to avoid conflict with her. Her carefully constructed revenge, fueled by a colossal misunderstanding, had utterly destroyed the man she once loved. But before she could fully process the devastating weight of her error, David delivered another shattering blow. And Chika, he continued, his voice laced with a new kind of pain. She knew. She knew Nkechi was my sister. She was the one who kept hinting to me that you were getting suspicious, encouraging me to be more secretive, making me believe you'd react badly if you found out. She even suggested I use the Surrelir apartment so you wouldn't stumble upon us at my family home. Amara stared aghast. Chika, her best friend, her confidant, the one who had seemingly dismissed her initial fears, had been actively manipulating her, feeding her misinformation, pushing her down a path of destructive revenge. The betrayal was no longer just David's. It was Chika's, a far more insidious and calculated act. The world spun around Amara. The sting of David's supposed betrayal now paled in comparison to the venomous sting of Chika's manipulation. She confronted Chika the very next day, her voice trembling with a mixture of rage and disbelief. You knew, didn't you, Chika? You knew Nkechi was David's sister. You orchestrated this whole thing. Chika, initially feigning innocence, eventually crumbled under Amara's furious gaze. Tears streamed down her face as she confessed, her voice a choked whisper. I'm so sorry, Amara. I was always so jealous of your beauty, your success, your perfect relationship with David. I've always loved David. I thought if I could just break you two apart, he would see me. I fed you those little doubts, made sure you found the locket, exaggerated every little thing. I even told him to be extra careful, to keep Nkechi a complete secret, knowing it would look like an affair. The confession hung heavy in the air, a suffocating shroud of deceit. Amara felt a profound hollowness. She hadn't just been betrayed by David. She had been a puppet in Chika's cruel, twisted game, her emotions weaponized against her own happiness. The layers of lies were so deep, so intricate, that she felt she no longer knew who to trust, or even who she herself had become in this labyrinth of deception. The revelation of Chika's treachery left Amara reeling. But the immediate aftermath was the wreckage of David's life. His business was in tatters, his reputation irreparable, and the grand wedding, once a symbol of their love, was now a painful memory. Amara desperately tried to undo the damage. She issued public statements attempting to clarify the misunderstanding, but the scandal had already taken root, too juicy to be easily dismissed by the public. Investors were gone, clients had moved on, and the whispers of infidelity, however false, had cemented themselves. David, though now understanding Amara's actions were based on a lie, was a broken man. The loss of his empire, coupled with the profound breach of trust from Amara, had extinguished the spark in his eyes. He couldn't forgive her for destroying everything he had built, even if her actions were born from a manipulated heartbreak. Amara faced a new dilemma: expose Chika publicly and further fuel the scandal, or deal with her privately, risking Chika's continued manipulation. The path to redemption seemed impossibly steep, paved with the debris of shattered trust and ruined lives. The wedding was officially called off, a quiet announcement that barely registered amidst the lingering echoes of the scandal. Amara, once the envy of Lagos, found herself isolated, haunted by the consequences of her hasty revenge and Chika's insidious betrayal. She chose to confront Chika privately, a bitter, tearful exchange that ended their friendship irrevocably. Chika, stripped of her facade, disappeared from the Lagos social scene, her own reputation quietly tarnished by the whispers that eventually followed. David, though cleared of the infidelity accusation, never fully recovered his business or his former standing. He retreated from the public eye, focusing on rebuilding his life in a quieter, more private way with Nkechi by his side. Amara too began a painful journey of self-reflection. The love she had shared with David was irrevocably broken, shattered by a chain of misunderstandings, jealousy, and revenge. There was no grand reconciliation, no miraculous healing, only the stark, painful lesson that assumptions could be more destructive than any truth, and that the desire for revenge, when fueled by deceit, could consume everything, leaving only ashes in its wake. The vibrant city of Lagos, indifferent to their personal tragedy, continued its relentless pulse, a testament to life moving on, even when hearts remained fractured. This brings to the end of the story. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and comment and stay in touch for amazing stories which will inspire you. See you in the next one.